businesses or establishments and you are looking for like sponsorship, what kinds of things do you say to kind of leaders say that this is a benefit for you as well as it is a benefit for us to sponsors?
They ask a question, what kind of sponsorship are you looking for? Are you looking for like fiduciary to sponsors? Are you looking for space? Like
your accountants, and producers, and all right.
Well, honestly, it just depends on the project that you're doing. So I think if we're doing something surrounding child trafficking, I don't know if going to Ford as an example would be interested in terms of that, in terms of like what they're specifically into, like how that will benefit them because they're not in that space as an example. Or if you could figure out, so I would go to someone who's either in that space. Certainly if you have, it's always about relationships. So I would just start with your relationships first, but also like, how does it actually make sense for the person that you're reaching out to? So making sure that this story is about this, and I don't think you do that. And we think it'd be a great look, but always go from a place of like, listen, we're really just trying to make a difference in this vein. You're successful here. Would love for you to do this. And then our plan is to do that, whatever your plan is, right? And if that plan is in alignment with that entity, I think it's a little bit easier. Honestly, it's just what I know that we have run into. If they're not in the space that we're already working with, or if they don't have an affinity for the project that we're doing, it's kind of, it doesn't benefit that person. So that you have to find like a kindred spirit with just the person who's making the decision. You know, even if it's like Joe Schmo at the car company. Maybe Joe Schmo has an affinity for X, Y, and Z. You know what I'm saying? It's so subjective. And that's not a one-size-fits-all, unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh.
Yes. And definitely start early. Start early. If you know, like, I wonder if we could get sponsorship, but this, them, getting space also will depend, I will tell you, from where you are, right? We've had a lot of success when we're out of state, unfortunately. And even here, people want to be helpful, but sometimes the parameters that are in place right now that our legislature is working on make it impossible for people to use helpful.
Yeah, I know
you. Yeah. When you say sponsorship, are you saying, are you speaking about having someone sponsor you in your project? That type of sponsorship?
Yeah.
Hey, can you give me an example of like something that you want a sponsorship from?
Like, if I wanted, say, a bar, I wanted to film in a bar, and I wanted to see if I can get either a free, like a bar to lend their location person enough, either for free or for a rental. Like, what kinds of things? That's kind of what I was asking.
Yeah. So that's again, the daily goes to Ember's point. It has a lot to do with relationships. A lot of these things you're building for the first time, like you're going around in local bars, and you can't. I don't want to say can't. You going to the popular spot is going to be challenging because they probably have to lose money in order to let you use their space. It probably will benefit you to stretch yourself out a little bit, find some of the smaller bars. When you're offering or you're asking someone to sponsor something that you're doing, they want something in return. Today, sponsorship it's a paid thing, right? And a lot of that deals toward marketing, right? That people pay you in your film to use their products. So the product placement space is kind of taking over a lot of that, kind of give space. But in terms of relationships and building and using locations, car companies, things of that nature, it really comes down to what project you're working on and the benefit of their place being yours. Try to find some place independently owned, right? A small whatever.
Or a place that you frequent.
They will also, they may ask for something, but it won't be something that you would think, right? If you go in there, your attach is like, hey, filmmaker, we love your spot. Like what we would offer is, can we do our rap party here? Right. And that way you come back and you're spending there. Maybe they cater, maybe they have some food. We do a little food thing, or even some of the drinks, non-alcoholic, like we just buy those. Or say for instance, you go, it's an overnight shoot. They're closed. They're going to have someone come there. That person's going to want to be paid. So they may dedicate the space and go, sure, go ahead. But remember, you're using their lights, you're using, you know what I mean? So you got to give them something. So say if I would just throw a rough number out, $500, right, for a bar, and it's really dope bar, it looks great. Tell them that I'm going to shoot your sign, I'm going to place it in the movie, right? I'll give you a special credit, shout out, and we'll name your bar. You know what I mean? Like we'll use it in the script. So therefore, when we're out and we're in the film festival circuit, we'll give out, the information to the bar, and hopefully, accolades and everything come to play will help kind of, give a little bit back to the bar. Things like that. They just want to make sure that they're not just giving you something just because you stop by. You know what I mean? Make it feel more like family. All right?
Any more questions?
Yeah, so people get confused when you say producer. So there is two producer, the one who pay the money, and the other one who great people on location and do everything else.
It was actually more than that.
I wish it was
Pretty more good, but yeah, there's so many than that. Yes.
Could you please explain what is the duties for the we get
That's everybody does.
Yeah, that's a fair question, and it depends on. We could answer this all together, but it depends on what you're doing. Film and television is different. You probably have heard of film, executive producer. A lot of time, executive producer, to my understanding and what I've seen, they got the money. They pay the money. It's the reason why, what's his name, Quentin Tarantino doesn't allow certain executive producers because he doesn't want that money, or you will see. So there's people with executive producers that are given the money. Then there's producers. I always say producers.
Well, there's other executive producers
Yes.
that are also like a studio level executive producer.
Yes, that's another one.
They're attached to the project because they're going to keep eyes on that person's money.
Yes.
So it's a lot of different variables. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's absolutely true. And then there's to be
Sorry, and to jump in on the TV side,
Yes.
these executive producers sometimes are also the showrunners.
exactly. So television, it's something else. But there's also co-executive producers. Those people, I always call them light pockets. Light pockets come in, not as much money as the big pocket. But the studio executive is looking out for both of those people's money. So a lot of times with that title, that's what it comes with. Then there's producers. But producers breaks down to what my beautiful friend here is. One can be a line producer. That is the number person, line by line, making sure everything in the budget is lined up. That's the person that's always going to tell you no. Creative producers.
That job to say no.
Yes, creative producers. My job, what I do is I generally work directly with him with talent, wardrobe, things of that nature, and all that type of stuff to make sure his creative vision is done. And then in film, another producer, is there one after that?
Right, well, you get tons, right?
There's like-
lead producer, head producer, right? Creative
Yeah.
producer. Because everybody's sort of producing something for the project.
Yes.
And it's important that it's important that you have one or two, right? And I'll give it to you like this: when you next time you watch a movie, watch the credits.
Yes.
Right. You see, first thing you're going to see is the logo. That's who owns everything. Then you're going to see the executive producers, right? That's the money people. Then you're going to see co's, smaller pockets. Then you're going to see the producers. Also pay attention to the font. The producers up top are the ones who either brought the project to life, right? The one who maybe a massive star, right? That was like, hey, I got this project I want to do. Sometimes they're also producer writers, right? That they wrote it and they're going to produce it. Or you just have producers, right? Some producers just come in and only produce. But their producer can just be going and getting other producers.
Yes.
So there's a lot of ways to be a producer.
how I can find this information on here and add, I didn't get the years at the vision producer, but now I'm pieces guarding in the boundary gate. So how I can find all this information.
Legit, I went on IMDb I went on IMDb and I looked up, and now there's ChatGPT, because that was back in the day, but now I looked up what everybody did. All they did, exactly what he said in the credits, go through, because I didn't even know what a post-production supervisor was when I started. Like, I had no clue. So I literally went through IMDb and I figured out, okay, so this person does this person, exactly what he says. It's like a tree that goes in this department. So you want to know who does what? Go through the credits, look at the producers. Okay, what do they do? Look at, okay, they do this, they do this. Because you're gonna lean toward and find the area that you're interested in. Like, you may be more of a creative producer. You may be like this young lady who's just really good with numbers and really can get it really do that budget thing. Or you may just, I don't even want to be on set. I don't want to do that. I want to sit in the office and just type and just do these things. Or I just want to deal with post. Figure out what area you're interested in, and then I say dive into it, because I literally went on IMDb. That's how I did.
I would also say if you're independently doing projects, which is what we do, and I really find, Lord knows it's very fancy to say, well, I produce for a major big studio. But I have to say, when you are an independent production and you have to do absolutely everything, it's the best way to learn what everyone does. So the type of producing that we do, well, yes, I typically focus on the development, pre-production stuff, right? But we follow it all the way through. So, I'm looking at the script. I'm looking right now. We're back there because we're at pre-production right now. First thing they're working on, right? We're working on our feature right now. So it's going through the script and making sure that makes sense. And then you're going to be like, okay, we have to think about our timeline. We have to think about when should we start casting, working out. We're going through, character descriptions. We're doing all the things. When you're a small, starting out, or a small group, or you have, small funds, or whatever the thing is, producing really means to make the thing happen, right? And so you're the person who's going to do casting. You're the person who's going to get locations. You're the person who's going to find the money. You're going to make sure the script makes sense. You're going to find the people attached to this. Oh gosh, we need a gaffer. We don't have any money for this. So can the gaffer bring? You didn't say, can the DP gaff? Can the DP operate? You know what I'm saying? So, but you're the person who has to put that plan together. So that's really what that is, right? And then we haven't even gotten to set yet. I'm just saying that we're just in development, pre-production. Then we're on set. So in our dynamic, I do a lot of the pre-planning stuff. But when we get to set, she goes. That's how we work. We're well-oiled machine. She's the set person. She's our set producer. She's on there. She's like, got this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't have any money for that, so don't do that. Or you know what I mean? So we'll do this. And then at the end, we all come together to figure out what the plan is for post. Now, mind you, Grant Housley is a unicorn in that he is the director that understands exactly what he wants. So having him as a active producing partner makes the process easy. You may not always. I got spoiled with him, and then you work with other people. You're like, oh God, because it's like they don't understand the producing side of it, right? So be prepped for that as well. So unfortunately, I don't know if there's a place that'll adequately tell you how to learn all the examples of producers, because I don't know about people are being honest about really what it means, because it sounds so sexy, right? It's not. It's so gratifying. It's so gratifying, but it is I feel like to be it well at excellence, it's just right. It's just making sure that makes sense.
Yeah. I totally agree. Right? Everything that was said is valid. And you're going to have to do a little bit of all of that. To be a producer, you're going to have to go produce something. And you have to start at the bottom and work your way to the top. It is a grinding job. What makes our dynamic work really well is we were all individually in our own spaces in the industry, and we all watched each other kind of grow, outside of that, and then keeping a very keen eye toward understanding what someone's really good at, knowing what Tiffany's great at and knowing what Amber is great at helps me be greater, right? Because you can offload some of these things. Everybody, as an independent filmmaker, right, you're going to be producing anyway. I'm sure the gentleman's producing, right? So you're doing it, but you don't know that you're doing it. Sometimes you're a producer, you don't even know that you're producing. So, but what you learn is it's a team sport, right? You have to get other people involved. Problem is you're going to go through about 30 people who don't stick. right? And you're going to end up doing the job that they do, which you're going to hate. But when you're done, you now know how to do that job. So now, once you're able to pay someone, you're able to bring in a team member, you can find someone, go find you a Tiffany, and she can do that. Or go find you an Amber, she can do that. And then also, the more projects you do together, like the team camaraderie is huge. It's difficult to go and work, and we've all ventured out. But when you go and work with a whole other team, everything's different. It's almost like starting over. You're like, I'm never doing that again, right? Because somebody on that team doesn't know some stuff that you learned a couple of times, or you learn from somebody else. So that chemistry of team building is really important for producers. Hence why studios have their own executive producers, because that executive producer has like 2 producers that he works with, or she has. She has 2 producers, and she's going to bring them on this project to manage all of y'all, because she knows that they know what they're doing. So finding projects that you're passionate about and go work the project. Do as much as you can, but the goal is to get the project done. People, we tend to get a lot of like tied up into what our worth and our value and what we do. It means nothing unless you get to the finish line. So the project must always come first. If you want to produce, go produce things. I would say get that gentleman's number, get her. Y'all swap information, you and her, and you guys find a way to work together. Right? Just being here, what I always notice in the crowd is that why you're here. It doesn't matter if it's 2 people or 200 people. You know right away there's a couple of people in that crowd who are taking the information, they need the information, they're going to use the information. So it's different when it's a sea of people and you know they're there, but you can't see them. But it's great when you can look in their eyes and go, okay, cool, let me go a little bit, give them a little bit more. All to me, right? So I think that's the most important part. I think hopefully, if anything you pull from that question is, yes, there are many producers. Know what you're good at, know what you want to get better at, and then find somebody who is passionate about a project and be like, here's how I can help you. And don't take the whole thing. Just go, I do this, this, and that. You need 5 things. I'll do 3. We need somebody to do the other 2. Well, you find it. If you have someone, yes. If not, you go, no, we're going to find it. And again, teamwork is everything. So once you build that, and we meet, like we're in, like what I call pre-production. They just say development, but it's a it's a pre-free. Yeah. But we're right now, that phase, we are talking, and like every day, every other day, we have a standing meeting that lasts about 8 hours once a week. And then the producers, the core of the producers on the creative side of things, they meet for like another 4 to 6 hours during the week. And this is the early stage. That'll ramp up right after Christmas to like 3-4 times a day. And this production isn't until like May or June. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's a lot of time. Time's your best friend, but time is evasive. You are never going to admit there's never enough time. Okay, so you're going to have to really utilize your time. As a producer, the main thing you need to do is be able to control your time. Right?
Thank you so much. You guys are amazing.
Oh, that's such a great question. And I appreciate the way you guys broke it down, because sometimes it seems as though the producer title is a vanity title sometimes, you know, and people negotiate to be given that title without necessarily the clarity on what their role and responsibility is. And I think a couple of years ago, the PGA basically stepped in and said, you know, if you are going to get that title, you have to justify and improve it. So it seems like you guys have a really great partnership. What are some of the things you look for in collaborators? Because you seem to have a well-oiled machine, you have a system. But if you were to move on to do a different project with a whole new group of people, what are some of the qualities you would be looking for people to be like, to produce with, to create with? What's a green flag for you?
Yeah, what I'm laughing because I'm like, I wouldn't. I mean, it's like, I'm not trying to be funny, but like now I understand. It feels so exclusionary. It does. I was like, but I absolutely get it. And it's not because people don't have aptitude. To actually answer your question, I would find someone who I believe matches our working style. Yes. They will vouch. We've had people left and right, oh my God, we'd love to work with you. I thought we would love to work with you. And I was like, great. And they run screaming into the night. Like, no exaggeration. It would be like t-shirts, wear the whole thing. He'll take it off the t-shirt, the production, crying in the corner. We're like, what's happening? And mind you, it's not because us, in terms of he's the most even-tempered person you would ever want to know.
Director-wise, you already know. He's not yelling. He's not that.
No.
But
just the pressure of the expectation. People are like, wow, because no matter, for all the prep that he just mentioned, which is like no exaggeration, things are going to go wrong and it's out of your control. So you have to be able we're always like, okay, let's on pivot. We'll fall apart later, but like after we wrap that for that day, right? Because what we're going to do is make our day. And last thing you can say to him is like, you should cut this. That's not happening. So we're going to make our day and we're going to do it within time because we don't have the budget for overtime. So what's the plan? And for whatever reason, people just kind of fold. So honestly, I'm not looking for just anything from anybody else. But if I was, it was someone, it would have to be somebody fair match that any means necessary, we can get this done. We have another woman who produces with us, and I watched her. I was like, for a minute. And I was taking her lunch and talking to her. Then I was afraid to introduce her, because I was because he'll say to you, are you gonna vouch? So meaning if it goes wrong, it's on you. So I'm not gonna vouch just yet. Hold on, And it was a minute before I was like, yeah. And I tell you, people think that we've been producing for a long time together as a team. She's only done one project with us, and you would think that we've been together for a very long time. But it's because she matches energy, and she matches the can-do, solution-oriented type of attitude, but with grace. We're with each other. We were on set, 16? Well, who were they on set? We make our day. We're on set for 12 hours. However, on the producing side, where they're early, where they're late, so you have 16-hour days, you want to be with people that you get along with. You want to be with people who are pleasant. So these are the green flags that I look for. Are you kind to the people that you work with? Do you bring positivity and creativity? Do you understand this is we're not curing cancer. We should not be terrible people in this process. Those would be the green flags that I
for myself, everything she said, tagged on that, but your director, to me, is the head of your ship. That is my White House. That is my guiding light. My job is to help execute his vision, or my director's vision. So I would add on to that, he has to meet them, he has to like them, he has to say, yep, I like the cut of your jib. I like it, we're going to work with you, whether it's a producer, whether it's a DP, whether it's, this can work. If he gives a sign off that I know, because we've worked together enough, I trust his opinion enough to know, okay, this is what he needs to execute the vision, let me work with this person best I can. And so far that's worked out. But I think it's important that you really give your director to you, along with all the things Amber said, which are absolutely essential, you give your director kind of that final, because that's who's leading your ship, and that's who's leading us on set, that's who's leading us in post, that's who's pre-production, he's leading us, whether it's woman or man. You've got to give him that, kind of pedestals to make sure that when you're on set, that it's going to go, and it's going to move, and that they're happy, and they can keep moving, because ultimately we need them to move, so we can give it that.
Yeah, for me, I'm lucky to have a safeguard because you got to get through them to get to me. So that keeps me pretty safe because, like it just explains that there's a process to kind of go through. I have many friends in the industry as well as Tiffany and I have many friends, and we've been pretty successful with our projects. So your friends are, I can't wait to work with you. You hear a ton of that, right? It's the Hollywood way. But to Amber's point earlier, people say that without knowing how much work we do, right? And it is a grueling job. But if you love it, right? And you know that you're needed in the space. That same wall that's there for me is my wall to them as well, because I have people, and I'll go, hey, just want you, whether it's an actor, we did auditions in Chicago and LA for a project, and I had an acting friend that I knew was really good for it, and we went through all of the acting process first before I even showed his tape. And just like, hey, here's another actor who submitted, so let's just take a look. And they were upset that I didn't do it in the beginning. But it's not a favoritism thing, right? It's a respect thing, right? I can, the ego is a big part of the fail of the industry. To Tiffany's point, even about the director is like the head of this. To your point earlier, those badges of honor get in the way a lot too. I may have the final say, but my final say is also based off of their opinions and the value I know that they want out of it. Because in a tough moment, somebody has to make a decision. And they know with me, my decision is always based on getting us through the project. Right? There's nothing to do with my ego or what I want or what I think. We have to finish. No one gets anything if we don't finish. So, keeping that spirit, keep moving toward that space is what's really important. You can get into a team, and a team like ours, there's access points, but you kind of earn them, right? Nobody comes in and just jumps to the top. You kind of got to, even though your title may already be that, you still have to kind of earn that level of respect to kind of get in with us. Like, we have other producers that work with this stuff, and then 1 or 2 projects, and then they're like, hey, we would really, really like to continue working with you. So it's a build, it's the same thing, it's that building thing, to build the relationships within your industry core, right, and the people that you know and the other producers. But getting someone like inside the inner circle, it's a really hard job. It's just like if you went to anybody else's company, any other production house, it's really hard getting that room, because that room is so tight, because they don't want to risk letting somebody in and mess something up. To the point that one of the ladies mentioned was even with crew, right? Everybody's not always aligned. You can be really great at something but not be aligned. You got to figure out how to make it work, because we're already rolling cameras, right? If your gaffer's upset, you have to figure out a way to let him be upset quietly, help him out, give him what he wants. If the AD is not that good, really slow, you're gonna need somebody else to go. I need you to I need you to move this crew along for me, because
You can't argue, you can't fight. It is only going to slow down the project. And you are chasing what you will always be chasing, that you will never catch, is time. You can't get it back, and it moves really fast. So if you allow some disgruntled employee, some disgruntled gaffer or whoever to interrupt your project, then I hope this is your last project.
Yeah, hopefully that never happens. I didn't get a chance to introduce myself earlier. My name is Constance Ejuma. I am an actress and producer. And I am very honored to be on the stage with these esteemed filmmakers. I'm learning myself, so this is perfect for me, just to pick your brains and get all the information and share it with everyone else here. So as an independent film producer, one of the most daunting things is figuring out how to raise money. How do you get your financing? How do you get people on board? How do you, afford your crew? How do you do post? Like, where do you get the money for all that? What is the biggest misconception people have about independent film financing?
Misconception, I would think that twofold. If you're coming from like a pessimistic standpoint, that you can't raise money, the people aren't interested, or you can't go to a higher or reputable entity, because you can, but also how they spend the money, like what they're willing to sacrifice. And Brad had a good point years ago, do so many things, but it's like, just because it's a good script doesn't mean it's producible. So you have to make sure that's producible, particularly for the funds that you have. So if and if you're self-financing, I've got $1,000, but you're like, and then we're gonna flood the da-da-da, you know what I mean? There's gonna be fire, and then we're gonna have so it's like, really just be realistic starting there. And I would say, like, working backwards, you know, well, the gentleman was talking about the bar. Well, I know the guy at the bar. I know this, I have a good PD person who could do this. So it's really just, I think, going about what you need. So then when you're talking to potential people, your numbers are realistic based on what you're telling people that you're wanting to do. And then there are honestly a lot of, you know, your traditional routes. You know, people do give you loans. There are a lot of you figuring out your tax incentives based on the states that you're in. Friends, you got to take your half off. We have literally right out there crowdfunding, all of that. But also you yourself having a considerable enough of your own money to be able to tell people, like, I've got this, I'm looking for that. Because I think when people know that you're just invested and you're buying in, you know, and honestly, again, I think I've been spoiled because we've been together for so long, but, like, you know, people really do, like, Brant isn't like an overseller. You know, he doesn't oversell things. $1 million, and we're going to be rich, and we're going to be famous, and doesn't damn like, he is not that person. If anything, you're like, yo, you carried the lead, you know, like, once you start working with her. So I think if you approach potential funders with just the truth of it, I think that's a good place to start. God bless the internet, because there's so many people can apply for grants. There are a lot of different foundations who support independent filmmaking. So I would say those are some sort of like standard resources that you could tap into.
Anything else to add?
Also, a lot of like beginning, right, early filmmaking, your budget is whatever you have access to. You know, don't get too caught up on, I need $10,000 to make a movie. Even if you have $10,000, you really don't have $10,000 because everything's going to go up. You have to learn how to have a $10,000 budget and make a $1,000 film. You know, because everything's going to go up. The gentleman with the bar, somebody's going to break something. So if he's making a $1,000 film, you know he has $9,000 in coverage. If somebody breaks the camera, if he needs something extra, or if there's blood, now you need to have it. People go instantly and have their $10,000 budget, and they budget the whole $10,000 out. Then you have every other problem that happens. Whatever's Murphy's Law, right? It is going to happen on set. So never really budget yourself to have your budget at a number or a scale that you can't produce. Produce what you can produce at your scale. People tend to build up these big numbers because they want to go get big fancy cameras, right? And they want amazing lighting. And true, you do need those things, but maybe you should shoot more daylight. Maybe you need to find a location. He's using a bar. Bars are dark, right? Bars have colored lighting. How are you going to light someone if there's blue, if it's a blue bar, right? There's a blue bar in the valley. I know we used it before, right? And it's blue. It's like, you don't think about that until you get there. Now you got to balance the blue and the skin tones, or everybody's blue. So it wasn't as cheap as we thought it would be, right? So that's what I'm saying. You have to produce at the number you're going to produce it. Walk in knowing I can make this movie for nothing. Right? We get together and we go, well, we own the cameras and we have all the stuff. The three of us can go shoot it, but we really want to make it the quality and also what you're producing and where you're going to put it. That helps tell you how much you need to spend. You're not putting a thing in theaters for $5,000, so it's not, obviously you're not going to do that if your budget's $5, if your budget's $10. Is it YouTube? Is it stream? Like, where is it going? Also helps you dictate your budget. Don't just randomly throw out a budget, because we do that, especially when you're early on. You're like, cool, I'll go on my budgeting program and be like 2 days, right? Yeah. That's doable, but you have to look at what you can work with and what parts of your team can make those sacrifices to double for some things and You may not have a first AD, second AD, right? Camera op 1, 2, you might only have one. Your op and your DP might be the same person, right? So balancing the number with the scale that you have in-house is probably the best way to justify your budget. And if you need to go get money for budget, to Amber's point, is you have to start with something, and you probably have to start with your own investment. Nobody wants to invest in you when you're like, I don't have any money for this film, but it's a great film and I need $10,000. Nobody wants to be first.
Yes.
If you already got 2,000 and I'm gonna shoot it for 10, but we already moved it. People go, oh, well, what is it about? And you tell them they really like it, they go, all right, well, I got 5. You know, so it has to stop. No one wants to go first.
Yes. And also, may I just add to, don't be afraid to pivot story-wise. If you have a fire and you know you can't afford a fire, don't put the fire in there. Put a fight. Put something else. Don't be afraid to, like, particularly if you're just starting off, I think, and you're just starting to do things. We were doing short films first. He was volunteering for Kids in the Spotlight, an organization, and I was volunteering as well, and she as well. And sometimes, you know, you get these scripts with these grandiose ideas in them. You're like, well, you know, the budget does not allow that. So let's figure out a way to pivot. Let's figure out a way not to have a fire scene and pay $20,000 for insurance. So don't be afraid to pivot to something creative, a way to get it done for the budget that you have. Because you can get something, we've done some amazing, really cool things with like nickels because, okay, let's pivot them, we can't do, okay, we got access to this, we don't have access to that. But you're able to pivot. So also think about that too. Sometimes it's not more money, it's a little bit more creativity and willing to look at something a little differently.
That's amazing. One moment. Can I just invite everyone to come a little closer to the stage, support our speakers here, let them feel warm and welcome. You know, if you see anybody hanging out in the back, invite them to please come and join us here and yes, and let's keep this conversation warm. What I really love about what you just said is this idea of pivoting. Because, Grant, to your point, sometimes when you run the programs for budgeting and you see the number that comes out at the end of it, it can be a little discouraging. A person can look at that and say, oh, well, I'll never be able to come up with this money, so I might as well give up. But what is really great about what you just said is, well, can you scale it down? Can you come up with a different idea that accomplishes the same goal? Can you maneuver it a little bit so that it doesn't have to be at this grand, massive scale? On that note, Tiffany and Amber, you are both also writers. So you're producers, but you're also writers. I wonder how your experiences as producers affects the way you write. Because I produced a feature film almost a decade ago, and my producing partner who wrote the script, we went through it, and during production, we have 20 different locations. And from that experience, we started joking around and saying the next film we do will be in an elevator. It'll be one location. But I'm curious, in the writing process, do you really think about like, okay, I need to pare this down because I don't think I'll be able to afford this? Do you let that stop you from sprawling and being imaginative? Or how do you modify your stories to thinking like a producer?
Okay, well, I will say this. I'll start first because I got in trouble because I'll be like, and this, and no, and we can't, blah, blah. And he was like, you let me get out first. He's like, I need you to hear the vision before you start telling me no. Or no. And then I stopped doing that and decided, how can we actually make it work budgetarily without impeding the intention of the story? And there is a way to do it, So as long as the intention of what the writer, creator was trying to convey isn't skewed, you really can't produce, you can still produce it and have the thing be the thing. And to answer your question directly, yes, when I'm writing, I'm definitely writing more succinctly. And do we have to do it this way? Is there a better way? And even now, you write something and then we go through, we're like, same thing. That was more cutting and vote on. Does it have to be, you know? Why do we have so many characters, you know? And just last night, I was like, you realize we had like 8 different security guards. But it just says security guard, because there's just these like one-liners, you know, like day players, excuse me. And I had to like go through and say, oh, wait a minute. Do we need that and why?
Can you consolidate?
Can we consolidate? But yeah, producing, and I also think producing has made me become a better writer because I am getting to the point faster. I am being more creative in how I'm taking advantage of the moment as opposed to needing all the other moments to invoke the same thing.
All that, everything she said, perfect. I would just add on to it as a writer. First, get it out. No matter how big, no matter how small, just get it out. Get it out to write. It's hard enough to sit at your computer and just think it's just her. Because that screen be looking back at you and he be looking back at it and they don't give you nothing and you're like, ah. Get it out. Just first of all, just get it out. Get the story out. Once you get the story out of your head and you're formulated it to where you're happy, then that's how mine works. My producer writing kicks it. Now, I have been accused of telling him no on things, but behind the closed door, I'm like, yeah, get the fire, get the this, let's do it. And it's true. I will admit to that. I like the grandiose of things, but the first thing, get your story out. Then you will start molding the story to, okay, I need a bar. I don't have money for a bar. Then you start, okay, which bar, who I know that owns a bar, which bar is close. You will start figuring out a way to do it. But I think the most important thing is to get the story, as you would get the story out first, the way you see it, the way you envision it, and then get with great creative people because they will help you. Okay, girl, you know you don't have this money. Let's figure this out. But you can produce a really great story in an elevator with 2 people just talking. There you go.
To add to that, right? The elevator, nice. Yeah, I totally agree. Everything you said, and 1,000% agree. As a writer, that's why I said slasher. Is when you're writing, be a writer. Right, write what you know. Writing. The better you know story, the better writer you are. Right, it's not really the producing that makes you the better. Right, storyteller. It's knowing and understanding what story is. Really understanding beginning, middle, end. Right, really understanding that you're going to need to be act 1, act 2, act 3, and out. Once you get your structure down, you really understand story, you're writing from a place where you're telling something, a theme or something through, but you now understand that you have to hit these things. Right, you have to. It's important that you measure up and hit this thing at this time, you hit that thing at that time. As crazy as it sounds, well, you know, anybody can write, but in order to be a really good writer, you just really get really good storyteller. Everybody's not a really good storyteller, so you have to be able to tell a story really well. It can be 30 seconds, you get it all the time, 3 minutes, 30 minutes, 3 hours. If you're a really good storyteller, it works. So you want to make sure you get that part out. The producing kicks in once you get it out, you walk away and you come back. Then you have to look at it. That's where the producer in you kicks in and goes, okay, can I produce what's on this page? Because if you're writing and producing at the same time, you're never going to get through it. You're going to stop. You're going to fight yourself a lot. You have to go back as the producer and not necessarily in the space. This is what I posted in. It was like, don't cut it. Read it and tell me how do we make it work. Right? Let's make it work. Doesn't mean we keep the fire. It means how do we make that scene work without the fire, if that's the case. But no, we don't just keep the fire out and the same scene happens. We need something to replace it. So that's why you have so many multiple drafts. But there's a place where as the producer that you have to go, okay, we can't really necessarily make this work. Not this way. The way you have it on page is this way. And this is where learning or really being a really good producer is. Now you're thinking, okay, so what's the budget again? $10,000. How big is this fire? And where are we going to shoot it? Say your uncle has a big giant backyard. You're like, we'll shoot in his backyard. Okay, you going to let us burn the backyard? Because this is big. No, we're just going to make it small. And just have a flame right behind his head. Okay, that's not the fire that's on the page. Let's make the fire on the page do that. Because what's important to the scene is that the fire isn't what's happening to the person. So that's where the producing side kicks in. As the producer, you got to really determine, the audience doesn't know what you know. They're only going to know what you show them. And that's what being a really good producer does, is you go, the audience, it's a great story on page. They're following the life and the love of the characters in the world, and if you show them, they believe it. Hence why we love Marvel and DC and all this, Avatar. We believe it, but you have to show us. What you can't do is show me something that is not believable. So if it's a huge wall fire, then make it a kitchen fire. You know what I mean? Like, it's still a fire. Maybe it's in the bathroom, right? Maybe it's somewhere small, or there's only smoke. And you're looting and you're crackling, and better you know sound design, you can make things feel more like fire. You don't have to show the fire. But if you immediately erase it, then you're just kind of back to square one. So you kind of got to go through the process as being a writer and then also being a producer. And it's also great to have other producing writers who also kind of see that world. That then as writers can tell you, oh, I love this, I love that, and then as a producer, they go, hey, but let me ask you this. And that's when you hear the producer kicking in. You'll hear it, because they'll ask the producer questions.
You had a question, I had.
That was very important. Okay, so you mentioned something about feature movie. I just finished one feature movie, and the two award best actors, one to France and one here. But I wanted to ask you about the budget, first of all. Second, all distribution. And third, for you, when you think about AI and the future of directing.
Great questions.
Fabulous. The budget first. I'm not gonna let it go. Your future will be. Oh, what's our budget?
No one's going to tell you that.
Yeah, but nobody's going to tell you their budget. No.
I'll say this. Look at budgets, and this is just budget information. Whether it's $100, $10,000, $100,000, or $1 million. They're only zeros.
What is the cheapest you ever worked with?
Nothing.
Nothing.
This is what I want to hear.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing.
But
Nothing. We work with ourselves.
What I think is important about your question is budgeting. We get caught up on how to spend. And this is what you're going to learn at a higher level. Is you go, how did they make a $100 million movie? They made a $10,000 movie. They made a $1,000 movie. It's only zeros. If you can make a budget, if whatever you shot your film for, if you add another zero, you're just getting more things, right? You have a little more time. So your budget doesn't really necessarily matter, to tell the truth. It's what you can produce. So when you say $1 million, but it depends on what we produce for $1 million. A lot of budgets, just behind the curtain, it's not the money you see on screen. It's just the money they gave for the production. The production was shot for a lot less. Other people's pockets took some of that. So it's a tricky game when people really get into the minutia, which is why that's what I said nobody's never going to answer that question, because it's not the truth. People hear the budget and you think, oh, that's the budget. But there's a lot of people who get paid out of that budget.
That's a very actually happy that you from nothing.
Yeah, you can.
And
You're just doing hard.
And it'll be good.
But also concretely, just so you can take something to think about, is that this is where you having your team and having like your producing partners be important. And the best thing I think I've heard in a long time was Issa Rae was like, people want to network up as opposed to networking across, right? So if you network across and you get a really great DP, right? You get a really good writer, you build a team of like really, really, really great storytellers.
And you go, I want to put this in the movie theater. And they go, okay, what's your deliverables? And you go, I have a ProRes, and I got DCP. Where'd you make it? On my laptop. That's not going to do. You need another $100,000. We need to redo your sound. They got to redo everything. For theatrical, it's a whole different thing. Tiffany's point. Netflix is amazing. It's a different requirement. Tubi had a low standard of approval. It's not the same anymore. They bumped theirs up. So now the budgets will go up because it depends on where you're going. Don't wait till you finish your film and start thinking about, okay, now where do I go? Because you're already limited, you just don't know it. If YouTube is your goal, great, nothing wrong with YouTube. Then you go shoot for YouTube. If you're gonna do YouTube, you don't have to go get a $10,000, $50,000, $98,000 camera. Know what you wanna do and what your goal is before you start grabbing Reds and Alexas and you know what I mean? Like you don't wanna do that. You wanna know why. People all first thing everybody run to, I got this kind of camera, I got that 8K, 12K. And what is it, where are you going? What are you going to do? Where are you trying to distribute this to? Know your distributors and know what they want. You know, there's no gatekeeper of that stuff. You can apply and submit and you may not get anything, but you're definitely not getting anything if you don't have the right materials in. Everybody has a quality control, a QC portion. It checks everything before anybody really sees it. It has to pass that first. So even though someone tells you, great, we'll take it, we'll look at it, if it does not pass QC, they don't take it back again, you're done. You didn't even look over the requirements, right? So you want to make sure that you're looking at where you're going to place and work your way down. You can always go down, you can't always go up. Going up comes at a cost, and it's not the same. If you start there and you work your way down, a lot much easier for you to do.
Assuming you don't have the relationships with distributors already and you were an enthusiastic filmmaker who just wanted to get their film made, and now after the fact you're trying to figure out where to put it, would you recommend looking into film markets like AFM or, you know, some film festivals also have that as
very
part
true.
of the
Yes, I do agree. I think the festival circuit is starting to shift back to how it used to be. They were sort of kind of arm guarded by the industry with all the top-notch films. But I think it's starting to get back to a place where the independent portion of it is starting to kick back in, and people are looking to buy more independent stuff now. Now that the streaming, all this stuff is balancing out. But again, that's the same thing. So your end game is film festivals. Well, there's a different requirement for like Sundance and Tribeca, and those have a different requirement than, you know, a regular festival, right? And the requirements are different. There's different deliverables. And I'm sure anybody's been to film festivals, some take the DCPs, some do ProRes, some do MP4s, like it depends. And you can tell the quality too. So if you have a raw image and you colored it and it's a, you know, Rec 2020 or P3Q or, you know, you really did this really high, even when you bring it down to a really small MP4 file, when it projects, it looks amazing. And that helps you win. It helps you get further along in those festivals. I think the market works, but again, you gotta be intentional about marketing, and then you're gonna go to the market, but who's there and what kind of projects are they looking for? Sometimes you just got the right project at the right time. It's not even, it doesn't have to be the best project. It's just, oh, we look for one of those, let's buy it. There's an acquisitions department in every company. They acquire thousands of films a year. They just acquire them, pay for them, put them in a bucket. Some of them they put out, some of them they don't. They continue to do it. They do it every year. They met the requirement. There's the type of action movie we like or a comedy that we like, and then people buy it. So yeah, you can definitely do that. But again, I think things have to be intentional.
I wanted to quickly say, there's also something called forewalling, which is where you buy out the theaters yourself, but obviously if money is a constraint. It's kind of like a crowdfunding type of model, and at the top of my head, it's called gather.com, and you put your film in there, and you'll advertise it, and once you get a certain amount of, there's like a minimum number of tickets that need to be purchased, then they'll screen your film, right? And so the better your marketing team, if you have, really robust presence online, they will scale the theater size based on the number of tickets sold. Well, no, there's two. So where you buy it out yourself, and or you go through this gather. There's like three, where you're not spending any money. It's that Yeah, but it'll, so, and you split the door with the company?
What the requirement?
Yeah.
Right, and the requirements is like, depending upon the size, so you start the smallest theater, and, you know, you have a certain amount of time to sell it out. If you don't sell it out, they just don't, they don't show it. And then it's like, oh, well, this theater seats 50, oh, you got to 75. Now you go to the next theater size, and da-da-da. So that's a way to do it too.
Also, just say, before you spend $1,500 just to rent out a theater, even though it's nothing, make sure, again, think about the purpose of it. Who are you inviting to see it? Why are you inviting these people? What is the goal? Before you spend a quarter, everything needs to have a specific purpose. If it's to get eyes, professional entertainment eyes on it, those professionals, people like them to come and look at it, who's inviting them? When is it? What time is it? Because that's how you're going to build those relationships. So when you just do your film, when you just have it, you've got some relationships in your pocket, or you're at least starting to build it. Don't spend a quarter if it's not built on relationships and a goal to get it further. That's my.
Does anybody want to take a crack at that AI question?
You do all the hard work, and that found a guy and his computer doing crazy things with AI. I don't know. Is this would be a problem in the future? How do you see?
No, well, it's not. I wouldn't say it's a problem. I think the technology is fun, right? When it happens, everybody rushes over, and everybody bets on the big thing, and this is what's next, and it's going to take over the world. We're watching Terminator for 30 years. We finally got robots. But I think, so AI in the industry, it's somewhat, you hear all the fear and all the scariness of it. AI is just, it's a tool, right? Like any other tool, there was a hammer, right? You had the hammer and the nail, and then they came up with like a power hammer. It's just, you hold it over, just knock it straight down. So the people who used to hit, they lost their jobs, right? Because now they just got this one machine that you put over the top and nails it down. Screwdrivers, right? You got power screwdrivers. AI is a power screwdriver, right? It's the tool that's faster. Will it replace jobs? Yes. Like any industry thing, it will. But it goes through its lumps and bumps first. They try to attach it to everything. And then that takes a cycle, which normally is around 2 years, before you really can see any analytics that actually work. 2 to 5 years. So we round in year 3 now. And it's like, didn't work the way we thought it would work. But it does work in certain places. So there are a lot of the film industry areas in which AI is going to be very helpful. People will lose their jobs, but other people will be very successful because you won't need 30 colorists anymore. You'll need 10. Right? You don't have to house as many because it doesn't take as long. You have tools that you can hit a button and it'll color correct for you. But the thing is, it still takes human adjustment. So somebody still has to do it. The creative space, what was once looked at, AI is it can write your script for you. Good luck. They have not had a great producible project come out of an AI system yet. They've been doing it for years. Because it doesn't have the human element, the way the processing goes. It's just smart. And it can't think, but it can give you information. In our creative process, that all of that is coming from people who have lived and have experience and have emotions and all of those things. AI doesn't give you that. So yes, it's a great tool. It will affect jobs, but it will make things faster, better. Because cars, right? There was a time when cars didn't go like 45 miles an hour. A car can give you 60 miles in like 2 seconds now. So again, things are that's just the evolution of change. So there's an AI, sounds scary. Is it ready to go? No. Your friend's computer with all the AI stuff, he can have AI edit it, color it, soundscape, everything, right? Put up on the screen, your audience is like, because I don't know if he's going in to do the touches that he needs to do to make it more connected. So that's what I mean, it's a tool. It can be used. You guys can go use them, try it. It won't feel the same. Because you didn't put your hands on it. You didn't look and creatively go, that was a little too fast, let me slow that down. Right? Love the music it placed in, it's melodic, it's cool, but this one feels a little deeper. Like the AI can't do that for you, you have to. So again, if you use it as a tool, it'll help speed up the process, but you have to still do the work with AI. So, you are.
How do you prioritize how to spend your money? Because yes, we agree it is possible to make a film with zero budget or $100 or $1,000, whatever the number is. But are there certain things that are absolute non-negotiables in terms of like, we absolutely have to spend money on this, otherwise the quality of our film isn't what it should be? A little example, you know, you can sort of forgive a fuzzy picture, but sound, certain movies, you can't mess with the sound guy, you have to pay him. You know, so like that, like what's super important for you?
Food. Food. Yeah. Because we, you know, listen, I feel like nobody has enough money to pay for that work, right? But if you feed me, so we don't skimp on the food. People will work for us, you know, we'll work with us, I'm sure I'm saying work for us, but work with us, you know, wherever our budget is. But everyone knows we have a reputation for having the best food. Yeah, and craft services. People will come because we feed. Yes.
My little 2-point, because I gotta go in a minute. Keep it legal, keep it safe. Permits, things that get you shut down, things that get you kicked out of somewhere are so important, because you got a crew of 150 people here and you're telling me you're kicking me out because I didn't do a permit. Are you kidding me? And then keep it safe. Safety on set. You have stunts. You have the last thing we did, we had big stunts go, or like a lot of fighting things. Spend the money for a real stunt person to come in to really teach your actors how to do it, so you can keep it safe. If your lead actor gets hurt in the second day of filming, what are you doing? So keep it safe and keep it legal, and have really good food.
Awesome. Anything to add to that, Graham? No?
Not really. I guess, I think that worked.
That's good enough. So since you're about to leave, I do have a question that is relevant. So all three of you seem to be really invested and intentional about training the next generation of filmmakers through your work at the Del York Academy, working with filmmakers both here and on the African continent. I was curious, what sort of success stories do you have from your mentees or your students applying some of the strategies that you teach them? Like, can you share some of those success stories with us?
So, man, that space we're very proud of. Yeah. Because we work with the foster group here in the States.
Maybe you can tell us a little bit about the academy and some of the
African stuff, because he was in 2010.
Yeah, he brought us there to teach us.
You started there. Yeah, that's how like WRT. He brought us to Africa. My God. And my student, and all these other students, yeah. Like, we have celebrities. I mean, Sarah. Yeah. Wow.
She wants you to go see.
Yes. Success stories. Well, look here. She put together this whole festival, right? Okay. I think that's a good one. We have just two of my. When I went there, I assisted him in the directing program, and I think at least 2 to 3, maybe even 4 are now directors, like full-time directors on the. 6? Oh, okay, 6. I thought it was 4. 6 are full-time directors on the continent and who have projects on Netflix. Like, and the thing about it is Nigeria, America, you have to want it. And the students in Nigeria wanted it so much. So we would sit there through lunch, through whatever. What do you need? Let me show you this. This is this. This is how you do this. And they took that information and they ran with it. So we have like 6 directing students who are like full-fledged directors, things on networks. For the organization here that we work with, some of our students from that program, one is a full-time commercial employed director who we cannot get to come back because he's working so much. Some have gone on that are producing and doing their own projects now. So
that's, to me, that's the best part of this. It's not my work and what I'm doing. Like, yeah, I want you to see it. I want you to enjoy it. But these students are taking this and running with it and taking their experience and running with it. So yes, we've got some fancy folks that we've helped mentor. The Del York Academy is Creative Academy in Nigeria, and then here, Kids in the Spotlight is a nonprofit organization we all work with as well. That produce some wonderful, wonderful students who are doing work.
Kids in the foster care system.
Mm-hmm. And I'm so sorry, I have to run because I have to do work that keeps me employed to be able to do this. So I'm just going to go over there and do a quick Zoom, but thank you so much. I appreciate it. And, the meters, do you want to go pay the meter?
How are we doing on time?
Oh, yeah. And, but Talented Thomas on socials, if you want to stay in contact, or you can just talk to these wonderful people. They know way more than I do. All right.
Well, I'll move on to my next question. So can you talk about the importance of location scouting and using real environments to save cost?
That's a nice question. I think location scouting is like huge, right? When it comes to production. Again, if you know the story well enough, you have these visions of what it looks like on the page, and then you go and you're looking at places, right? And take the bar, right? I'll use your bar as an example. There's so many different looks of a bar that on page you may have a bar that's sort of a modern day bar, and then you walk into a place that has a brick wall like that, and it has this, the drainage and carpentry sort of look, and for some reason it works better. So you got to be a little more adaptable. So when you're scouting, just it's more about the importance of the location to the world that you build, not necessarily the one that's on the page, right? So when you're writer, so back to the slasher, the writer writes, modern day bar. Well, you're in Los Angeles. Modern day Los Angeles is way different than, Kentucky, right? So when you're scouting, the writer isn't scouting, the directors and the producers are scouting, right? So the director is now going to look at these bars. It's just going to depend on which one fits the story. So always kind of being aware of that and knowing that on the page it may say one thing, but when you're stuck in your story, those locations can kind of come to life. They'll say that a lot, like the location just pops. So always being open to that and keeping a backup, just in case, right? You can turn this into a bar, and having that type of access. Like you may not need an actual bar. You may need a location that you can make look like a bar, right? It depends on how big you want to shoot it. How big is this bar? And also look at the challenges of shooting in those locations. So it takes time, and it's not always necessarily the specific look, and more about the feel. Because the feel relates to the story. The look is just, it looks really good. So taking your time with your scouting, do it more than once, go back again, make sure you're listening, right? And it's an important part of location scouting is listening. I can hear these TVs humming, I hear this little thing blowing. You better pay attention because these things are going to get in the way. When the room empties, this is loud. There's a lot of bodies in here. There's people moving around, but I can still hear it, so I know it's loud in here if I was going to shoot in here. Right? So that's challenging. So again, you had a bar, you might be like the fridges, they're not going to turn that stuff off. You can sound blanket or whatever, but it still may hum. Maybe you're okay with hum and figure out something in your sound design because you need this particular type of look. So it's a balance of what's important to the story and what the location offers. So it's a little bit of both, but it's really, really, really important.
On some logistical things to piggyback on what he was saying, I think people don't take into consideration, can that location double for something else? Is it large enough to stage? Where our truck's gonna park? Can we, how many bathrooms are there? Is there a hard out for that place? is a high traffic area? Is there a school next door? All the things that you have to block off that street for a particular scene if you're shooting exteriors. What does that look like? Also, how far away is it? Is it feasible to get there in a certain amount of time? Is there going to be a company move? So really just outside of, which is important. And I really do think, and honestly, sometimes it's not the talent, it's their management. It's the representation. The representatives, oh my God, we had a young man who was like, we liked him. He was great. But he didn't even know how to read a script, because he was like an influencer. So he was great because he had that personality, but he was an influencer. But he was reading the action. That's how green he was, but he was going to give him a chance. And we were like, great, let's do it. And then his representatives got involved, and we were like, oh, absolutely not. And it was outrageous. So sometimes you just can't get around that because it's the representatives who, or we'll have a relationship with the actor. There's another one who had a known talent. He wanted to do it. His reps were kind of like, no. And was in the way. So, unfortunately, I'm sorry, I don't have one.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do.
There's always so much you can do.
Unless the actor makes an executive decision and says, I'm doing this no matter what.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
From a director's standpoint, dealing with non-union, it just takes longer, right, to cipher through the talent. Because what SAG gives you is that these are actors who have worked on things, right? They have to be approved to kind of be here. It's not a talent thing. It just means that they've done the work. They sat on set, they sat in the room, they waited, and they went out and they did that one line, and they went back. They came back 3 days later. So that there's a work ethic there that sometimes in non-union it's a guessing game. It's a nice photo, right? So you have to kind of do more work. You have to really, really audition and audition again and again and again. I would be that diligent. I wouldn't do just one audition if it was non-union, because I'm looking for the diamond in the rough. I'm looking for the actors that I feel like really have something I can help them with, or something that we can do together to make the story come to life. Again, the biggest problem is that you're getting a lot of first timers or people who've done maybe a couple little things and maybe they're not aware of where they're going to be. I love first time actors, the raw ones. I love it personally, but they got to be committed, and you don't see that in the audition. But hopefully you see something, right? And I try to I'm always open to anybody walking in the door. It's not an experience thing. It is an experience thing, but it's not necessarily a resume thing, right? Where it's they had to be on Chicago Fire, or they need to be on. They don't need to. I just need to know that they can do the work. And the great thing, I prefer in person, right? Don't send me. You better all now that if you're doing that, you better be somebody, because I'm not the person you just send me your tape and be like, oh no. But what you're looking for is someone who you feel like not only has a look, but that you can see the character in. I start all my auditions off with, there's 300 people here to play Tony, and there's 300 men coming in to be Tony. I have 300 Tonys. The one Tony whose job it is going to show me out of these 300. 299 people are going to lose their job today. Not the other way around. I'm not looking for one. I'm waiting on the one to show me, because all 300 on the audition day, the 300 people coming in have the job. And when they walk in and they stumble, when they walk in, they can't remember the line, the true Tony out of the 300 will show up. Maybe 5 will show up. I'm like, well, wait, let me see him again, because I'm missing something. And somebody will show me, no, it's me, I'm Tony. Right, so my approach to auditioning is just a little bit different. Because you can walk in, because again, you're looking more at either self-tapes or you're looking at these headshots, and your casting director's already pulled people who fit the role. So they have the look. So it's not that. I'm looking for something else. So I want, when you walk in, you got to show me who you are. And if I don't see the Tony on the page in front of me, then thank you for coming. Have a nice day. Right? So with non-SAG, I got to do that 300 like 3 times. Just to do the diligence. I can find them in the first batch, but I'm going to keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. When it's SAG, that 300 doesn't mean the talent's any different. I may end up doing 2 or 3 rounds with that too. It's just that they're going to come in and be a little more well prepared, right? So that's the benefit of being in the SAG space, because when you're in the non-SAG, some of those actors that are walking in are really trying to be SAG, and like I said, you can tell. You know when they walk in, you're like, okay, this is put in. There's a list that you're building, and they end up on those are the people that end up on the list.
That's super helpful. Yes, that'll be our final question.
Very quick question. So I'm eligible to be a SAG, but I refuse to be a SAG because they told me once you are a SAG, you cannot just go and do outside SAG. Is that true? Well, what do you feel about that?
That's this is a tricky question, but no, it's not true. They have SAG C4D.
Oh, they're non-SAG. There's a term.
Yeah, fighter. Yeah, fighter.
Yeah. But so there's ways. There's
The micro budget thing is different from FICOR. Because even with a micro budget, you can be a SAG actor and still be eligible for that. But I think with FICOR, you can officially be non-union, but you kind of have to pause your SAG membership for that to be applicable. So I think a lot of actors opted to do that during the pandemic when they weren't necessarily getting a lot of SAG opportunities coming in, but they needed to continue to make an income. So, but technically, if you are SAG, you are not allowed to do non-union work but the union maintains its power by having that exclusivity. Yeah. But thank you both for your time and your generosity. Just wrapping up here, Grant and Amber. One final question. What is the most important piece of advice that you were given when you were starting out as producers? Or if you can't think of one, what piece of advice would you give somebody who is up and coming in that space?
Okay, what I would say is, the one thing I hated to hear unequivocally was, believe in yourself. That used to drive me crazy. I was like, that does not help. What I'm today. Okay, now I'm going to say, the reason why people say believe in yourself is because once you start getting into this space, you'll see that it's not that the person is more talented than you, or no, or more, what's the word when you, it's not about aptitude, it's just about opportunity. And opportunity is not distributed equally. So when you are in that space, I would say, what I now say when I say believe in yourself, believe in your talent, believe in your work ethic, and believe that you are the value add as well. And if you come like that, I think that you can have a more, like, the most fruitful of experiences. But also come prepared. You know, on the writing side, I hate it when people tell me, read the book, read this, read that, but you do. Reading scripts is really a great way to become a better writer. In the scripts that you, like the type of shows that you want to write, I'd say read those scripts. And I will read the scripts and then watch the episode and be like, oh, okay, that's very interesting. You know, because some of the scripts are terrible, but the episode is amazing. Or vice versa, where like, it's a great script, but then you see the episode, it's like, oh, that kind of fell flat. I wonder what happened, right? So doing that, so betting on yourself in terms of investing in your craft, and then not being afraid to, like I say, networking across, but also when you have the opportunities, really not being afraid to get in there, and you will make a mistake. Even the most seasoned people make mistakes. But yeah, believe in yourself, Believe in yourself because you really do have it within you. It's just, it's not the destination. It truly, truly is the journey.
Thank you, Amber.
Believe in yourself. That's it. It's a good one. I guess for me, can't think of any at the moment, but I've had a few different really light bulb moments throughout my career. But at the core of it, it was more about aligning my own hard work, ethical values to wanting to make sure that I gave my all to the project or to whatever I'm working on, whatever I'm doing. Play sports, so I have a team first mentality, and I've adapted to the space of being the one to pull us across the line. That no matter what, the whole team can get on my back and I'll drag us across the line, which is also another way of saying, like, I'm going to do the work, right? There's nothing that's going to prevent me from doing the work. I will do the work. And what I've learned in the early stages was I was watching, had a great opportunity presented for me early on. They don't really do it much anymore, was to shadow some really big directors. And I learned from a few of them, months and months and months of shadowing. Different directors with months and months with individual directors as well. And they had that same type of attitude and spirit. It made me think about sports. When I watched them work, I was like, oh, this is just like sports. Like this is the quarterback, or the running back, or the superstar, or the guard. Like this is LeBron, this is Michael, right? Of film, because they're not gonna quit, right? It's 1 hour, the sun's gone, and they're like, let me get one more. You know, everybody go home. I'll do the camera myself. Like they won't quit, and it ends up being the shot in the movie. You're like, it wouldn't even be there if he had just said, no, it's too late, I gotta go. So that no quit, don't stop, don't give up type of mentality, work ethic, if you may, is important, because in this space, in this industry, what is going to get you beyond anything is the ability to continue and keep working and do it again, and do it again, and do it again. And working hard is not hard work. If it's hard work, you're doing something wrong. Working hard is just what you do. Being here right now, it's hard work for some people. People get jobs, right? People paying their parking meter, or they open their parking garage. This comes with it, right? You have to be willing to do the hard work. It's just part of it. If you're working hard to do that, then you might want to find something else to do, because that part of this business doesn't go anywhere. It's all hard. Again, because of the time thing is important. So I would just say, work hard. Well, believe in yourself, and just trust that you can do what you want to do.
Great. And on that note, I think we can wrap it up here.